among such great women who have really trailed the blaze for me, blazed the trail for me. Oh my goodness, I'm tongue-tied. This morning, it's really great. May Newberger, I have to just acknowledge you, because when you were town supervisor in the community that I currently live in, you really put Newcastle on the map. There was a part of the town that was not recognized, and when you were supervisor, you came in and you made sure that our community had the services that it needed. And today, we have a $25 million community center, Platinum LEED Community Center, that is in progress, and it will be one of only 9 in the country. So I thank you, Ms. I am from a family of one immigrant. My father was from Cuba with a 6th grade education. My mother, a woman from South Carolina, who grew up in a period when women were not respected as women, let alone black women were not respected at all. And for me to be here as a council person, it means a lot, not only to me, but to my family, because of my heritage, from where I came from, and for my parents, the struggles that they went through. My father was a very, very aggressive man, a man that followed politics to the T. I believe that he could have been president if he chose to run for office. He was very, very smart, despite the fact that he only had a 6th grade education. My mother was a very meek and submissive woman, taught me a lot, because she taught me that you have to choose your battles. Although she was very, very meek and submissive, she ran our household. She was a problem solver. She was a leader. She was a dynamic woman. And in my role now, I take from my parents a lot of the things that they showed me through their life. Being in leadership, you have to be aggressive. As a woman in this field, it is a male-dominated world, but we make strides, and it may not be where we want to be, but we are coming a long way. I realize that I have a lot in common with some of my colleagues. I was listening to Norma speak about her activity in the community. I got started when I moved out to Long Island about 11, 12 years ago. My husband was the one that went to all of the meetings and was very active in the community. He said, why don't you come with me to this meeting? And I came to one meeting and I met this woman, and she's actually sitting here in the audience, Miss Mildred Little, and she said to me, you know, you guys are young folks, you have to get involved. We need more young people involved, you know, especially women. We have to get the women involved. And from that, I became more involved in my community. I started working with the Weed and Seed program, which was a federal grant for communities that were in despair. And the objective was to weed out the bad things in the community and seed in good things. And one of the projects I worked on was working with the senior citizens in a complex called Magnolia Gardens. And the residents there were not being treated fairly. And my job was to empower the residents to talk to management, to have an open dialogue with government. And I, like many of my colleagues, I was that person in the community that always was in my town councilman's office. I was constantly on the phone. We butted heads a lot, but my voice was heard, and our residents, their voices were heard. And as a result of their empowerment, our 311 system that Kitty mentioned is a place where it holds the town accountable for what happens within the town. And right now we have the North Hempstead Housing Authority is part of our 311 call system. So now the residents of Magnolia Gardens, as well as any other senior facility, can call on our 311 call center. And if their needs are not being met, we have a record of it. So it holds everyone accountable for their jobs. One of the other things that have really, really been instrumental to me is community involvement. When I ran for office, they thought I was crazy when I was telling people, you have to come out to the meetings. You know, you need to call me, you need to let me know what's going on. My job is to make sure that my constituents' needs are met. And I believe that as a woman, I felt that many women were not coming out. We would get our men that would come to the meetings and speak out, even when there were other community meetings and things going on. But there was not enough women. So I started speaking to the women and just asking them why. Why weren't you coming out? You know, they felt like they had no voice. They felt like no one was on their side. They felt they weren't going to be listened to. But now we have more women involved. When it comes time for community meetings, there are more women involved in our community meetings than men. We have a lot of children. We have a lot of young people that come out and that get involved in the things that are going on in the community. Why don't women get involved in politics? I just think that they don't know the ropes. I encourage any woman that is looking forward or has any inclination of wanting to get involved in public service to just attend a meeting. Talk to your fellow constituents in your community. Find out what it is that you have in common, and find out if you have any common goals, and stick to it. If you have a passion for something, if you have a desire for anything, let that lead you, let that guide you into doing what it is that you know is best, and really follow your heart. I got involved in politics because of my predecessor. They approached me to run for the position when he decided to move on to another office, and I myself thought I wasn't qualified for the position. But then I started to think back about the things that I was doing. I was involved in my community. I was an advocate. I was a grassroots organizer. And those are the things that are needed to be in a governmental position, to be a public servant. You need to know what your community needs are. You need to be in contact with them. You need to be in constant communication with them. My kids are very, very much involved. You have to be involved in tune with the youth, with our senior citizens. It's very, very, very important that you are involved. And it could mean a simple thing like going to a PTA meeting, going to our town board meetings. When we have our town board meetings, unless it's an issue of contention, there's really not many people there. I encourage people to come out to your town board meeting, come out to your civic meetings, get involved in things that are happening in your community. May started the Women's Roll of Honor. If you can, come to the Women's Roll of Honor. You will find out the amazing things that women are doing. As college students, to the college students that are here, get an internship in one of our offices. I believe all of the elected officials that are represented here have internships. Get involved in our office. Come and see what we do, particularly the women, because it is a little bit different, I think, for the women that are in government than it is for men. We have a different perspective. Women, their innate ability is to be a nurturer, and I think we bring a different perspective to the table. Being in the home, as a parent, as a mother, we're the problem solver in the household. Those skills come into use when you're in political office. I just want to close by saying this. Eleanor Roosevelt is one of my favorite people, and in one of her speeches many, many, many years ago, she spoke about curiosity. If you have curiosity for any particular thing, it is definitely worthwhile to explore that curiosity, because with curiosity brings great leadership.